You'll take a split on the day, but too many missed opportunities there in that second game to have won the series that we just have to do a better job of being able to take advantage of.
Questions?
Coach, were there conversations last night with the weather as to whether you could, instead of delaying it into the evening, play a doubleheader today or tomorrow, or what did those conversations look like?
Say that again?
Were there conversations with the weather yesterday about playing 2 today or tomorrow instead of starting a game at 9 p.m.?
No.
No. And were there conversations at some point late into the game as the fog was rolling in about calling it for player safety?
Well, once the game starts, it's in the umpire's hands to make that decision with regards to safety and those types of things. And they met with us kind of right there before that last half that we played and asked opinions. But at that point, when the game starts, when it comes to rain or any of those types of things, that's in the umpire's hands to be able to say, hey, we're going to call it and postpone it and move it to the next day.
What did you see on that final play of yesterday's portion of the game?
Not much. It was foggy. So, yeah, I mean, I when you look at it, I mean, I think people can argue and say whether or not, based off TrackMan, it was a home run or if it wasn't a home run. I find it difficult to believe that at the launch angle and where he hit it in the park with heavy air, that the ball actually got out.
And then Donovan Jordan, he had the walk-off. How cool has it been to see him progress throughout the season? Really
cool because it's a guy that redshirted at Texas last year and kind of has just been waiting, and when opportunities present themselves, he's jumped in there and had some big hits for us, whether it's coming off the bench, whether it's not playing for a number of games and then getting inserted into the lineup. He's just a tough competitor that wants to be in those situations. And the more guys we get like him, the better off we're going to be.
Coach, what are your thoughts on, obviously, the SEC given kind of the okay to use the ABS challenge system in the upcoming SEC tournament?
Scary, just because the idea of if the players have the ability to challenge that, well, we're going to have to put in some really strict guidelines on when you can, what the situations are that you can, and who can and who can't. I don't want everybody just being able to have that opportunity. So I'm hoping that we have a call with the conference next week that I'm hoping we can iron some of those things out, because I can see some kids doing, being an 0-0 count, and all of a sudden they're tapping their head in the second inning with nobody on base. Like, whoa, that's not when we want to do that. So we'll have to lay out a foundation for them of what it looks like when we make those challenges, and more importantly, who can and who can't.
And then what kind of changed, I guess, with Chris Patterson over the last couple of weeks and kind of until his return today, obviously?
When you say change, what do you mean change?
Like, what kind of, because when I asked you about it before, you were kind of, I guess, saying it was unlikely he would come back this year. I guess what kind of changed from that point on?
He got healthy and said he wanted to play. That was simple.
And then Julio Mar was listed as out on the availability report. What happened with him, if you're willing to share anything on that?
Yeah, he's got a slight strain in his oblique, and so he aggravated it a couple weeks ago, and so we're just trying to get that thing better.
And then you guys had quite a few runs scored in the last 2 games. What was working well for your offense?
We had a plan, and we went up and executed the plan well, and then they made some mistakes. We were able to take advantage of some of their mistakes, but we're getting bunts down. We were moving runners. We were making things happen. We were forcing them to make plays, and at times they couldn't make those plays. And that's kind of what we've been striving to be for as an offense for the whole year, and we just had our peaks and valleys with that. So it really came together. And again, once our guys have a plan and understand what that plan is, we have the ability to execute and be offensive.
You had some transfer additions that have been routinely producing for you guys throughout the season, Cam Durnan and Juice Wada. How big have their additions been to your lineup this season?
I mean, obviously, when we're struggling to score runs, those are guys that have, specifically with Jace, have been in the league and had some experience. And Cam, from a defensive perspective, has been really, really solid for us here lately. He has started to turn that corner and be a little bit more offensive for us throughout the course of the year. But obviously, when you can add guys that are older, that have some experience at this level, you want to be able to do that.
With Patterson, was there some thought as you get later into the season to holding him out and maybe looking for a medical redshirt?
Nope, he said he wanted to play. So it was his decision, and he said, hey, when I'm healthy, I want to play, and he got the clear to play, and so he said, I'll put me out there. He wasn't worried about the medical redshirt.